Hello guys, welcome back to tutorial days, and in this video you are learning block in Flutter. So guys, we have covered this core concept, and in this one, in chapter number 4, we will see a Cubit. So in Cubit, as you know, that Cubit is simplified form of block. So it is a lightweight version of block that allows you to emit new states directly without defining events. In the previous chapter, you have seen we had to write event class, then we had to write state and then block, then we can use it. But in this one I will show you directly just creating one file that is called Cubit counter. We can directly integrate into our UI. So guys, in this chapter I will show you that how you can do that. So let's go to the practical thing. Here you can see what we are doing. Class counter Cubit extends Cubit, and this one is, remember, this one is it's constructor, where in super, that means what, this Cubit class, this is the constructor of Cubit class. Now we have two methods here, two functions here, one increment, emit state +1, and this one is for decrement. So here emit is a function which is responsible for emitting the event, that means changing the state, this one. Now here we will implement this. This is BlocProvider, that means what, this counter Cubit will be available in this child page. So that is the idea. Provider inject into the child widget hierarchy. Now the next one is here this one. So what we are doing here, BlocBuilder. This BlocBuilder is responsible, remember always, BlocBuilder is responsible to reflect the changes, which whatever changes will be made, this counter Cubit, and in it will be reflecting, it will be displaying here. And here you can see two buttons, one is on pressed, context.read decrement, and context.read increment. So these are very simplified forms. So I will show you. Let's run this code in our VS Code. We have already created, so let's create this here. Inside our leaf folder we will just create one file called counter Cubit, and here in this counter Cubit we will write this code here, and next one, in main method we need to put this code in our main dot. And here is this something wrong, there is conform to okay. The error is here, we have to define here generic type. Right, so now it's gone because we have to define here that okay, it will be a generic type, that means integer. So now it's gone, the error is gone now. This BlocBuilder will update the counter, and here increment and decrement. Okay, let's run the code. Okay, you can see now this counter, there is some error into insertion failed or so. Okay, so why it is, because we need to change this. Okay, it will be context.read, then counter Cubit, and then increment. Similarly this one also will be here, then decrement to sending the value. This can be done using off also. So we had to make a change, context.read, and then Cubit, decrement, and increment. Now let's refresh the page, let's check. So guys, as you can see, counter 1 to 3 is working. So now if you see the difference, this one is our previous one, which using block. To run this code, counter code, we had to define three files here: block, event, state. And here in this case you can see we had to define only one counter, this one, and directly we are using this. So as you can see, this is simplified form and it is simpler as compared to the block pattern. So guys, that's it in this one. In the next chapter, so guys, in this chapter with a small example I will explain more about the block. So once again, let's see this one. What is event based block? Unlike Qubit, the block pattern uses events to trigger state changes. We have already seen that in Qubit we don't need any event trigger file, but in this one, in block, it is mandatory to use event, and you have multiple event types. It is useful when we have more than event type. You want to separate UI actions from business logic. That means what is event based block and when we should use this. You are dealing with asynchronous or complex workflows. Guys, at the end of this tutorial, I will show you creating something like this: subscriber increase and decrease using this block. And this is our, and also we will be using BlocListener. So whenever we will be adding here or decreasing, so that it will display something like this, means it will show here notification. So that can be achieved using BlocConsumer. So all these things what we have discussed previously, we will implement in this. Okay, now so what we are going to do in the block, subscriber block, event and state, 3 files we will be creating. In event file we have already seen this abstract class we will define here, and we will extend this subscriber event, subscribe, unsubscribe, these two. And then in state we just have a simple code, and that is subscribe state and final count, and this subscribe state, this is actually what just a class. This is the class, and this one is it's a constructor, right? This one. Now in the subscriber block we will have this class subscribe extends block, and this event and state, 2 generic type we are passing here. Now we are calling here super and subscribe state. That means initial value, initial subscription we have 100 on event. Then this on event, what will happen? Subscribe state, it will be calling, and then state count 1 will increase, and on event emit subscribe state. If counter is 0, then it will be 0. Now in UI we will be using BlocProvider to inject this counter block. And finally here what we are going to do, this BlocBuilder we will be using, and then this button. So now here is the complete code of main dot file. So now let's implement this and see that how this works. Okay, so let's start creating the file. First we need to create here block folder. Inside block we need to create 3 files. And this one. Now in the subscriber event we will be writing this code. In our event file we have to subscribe and unsubscribe, and we are extending this subscribe event. Now inside this state file we don't have that much code, simply we can put this one in our state file. This is just taking this as a parameter, the count. And finally in this block file we'll have to write this way. In the block file what is happening actually, initial value is this 100 and subscriber state is changing here. You see the same state this subscriber state, and this parameter is being taken here and changing from here. And there are two buttons here, subscriber state, on event, this emit, and this one is on subscriber state, this one.
Sure.
Now we will be using here BlocBuilder and BlocProvider and BlocBuilder and BlocConsumer as well. So this is our main file. Now let's copy. I will explain this how this is working. Let's go to main.dart. Let's remove this code, and here we are implementing code. So what we are doing, the main thing is, once again we are using here BlocProvider, this one, so that we can access all the feature of this block subscribe block into our subscribe page, means this one, to all its child widget. And here we are using BlocConsumer. In previous chapter you had studied this, you had read this, you had heard about this. I had explained you that what is BlocConsumer. BlocConsumer actually uses both BlocListener as well as BlocBuilder. BlocListener, remember, this BlocListener is used for side effect, means if you are adding, then it will display message whether it is added or not. And this builder is to update the UI, means it will show the changed counter. Okay, right. So now this one is, if counter is 0, then it will show no more subscriber left. And here if we keep increasing, then it will show after every 800 milliseconds it will show our added one. Okay, and here is a button for increasing subscription. Alright, it should display. And here our main UI floating action button padding. For in this one you can see this one is for on press unsubscribes, and this one is for subscribe. So what we are doing, context.read.add control.read.head. Right, now let's run this code and see the magic. So basically guys, you can see there are 3 points. First one is BlocProvider. This is BlocProvider. So point number 1, and point number 2 is here BlocConsumer, right, somewhere. BlocConsumer, what we are using? Yeah, BlocConsumer. The BlocConsumer has 2 parts. One is listener for reflecting the changes, and second one is builder, which is reflecting to show the data. Okay, so there is something. Let's see. Okay, so the error says multiple event has been called. The following state error thrown. The subtree global in this bad state. Subscribe to watch called multiple times. So I think here we have some problem here. Let's see. Okay, the problem is we have not defined here the method. It will be on subscribe now, and this will be on unsubscribe. Unsubscribe. Now it should be fine. Let's refresh. Okay, so now let's refresh it and check.
Yeah.
So basically this is our whole thing. Context read subscriber block, and then unsubscribe block, subscribe block, subscribe block, subscribe, unsubscribe. That's it. So now what we will do, let's check into here. Initial value is 100, you can see, and then when you make any changes, you can see it's increasing as well as displaying message here below. So 2 things are being done simultaneously. The one is increasing this one as well as displaying here. So BlocConsumer is actually doing 2 things. You check here BlocConsumer. This one, BlocConsumer. This is the work of BlocConsumer. BlocConsumer had 2 parts. One is listener. what is this listener actually? This listener is this one, and this data is increasing. This one is being done by builder. Okay, so hope now the thing is clear to you. And this one is BlocProvider for injecting into the whole page. So how it's working here, when we click on button subscribe, then one is increased, and when we unsubscribe, when we write, then one is decreased. So this way it works. An event, it's very simple, and state only it is taking the parameter. So guys, now hope you understand. So once again, let's recap it. What is happening here? This event, and this one is state changing. Here actual performance is being done, increment and decrement, and then we are using here, we are calling this provider here, and finally using BlocConsumer, which had two parts, listener and this listener and builder, which is performing, displaying the counter, displaying message here, and this one is two button, subscribe and unsubscribe and subscribe. So guys, I hope that this example makes the things clear. Further we will be doing a little complex and bigger project, so stay connected and meet in the next chapter.